Hello everyone! I'm so excited about today because we're going to talk about making coats for kids. I have 3 kids and they all got new coats for Christmas and I can't wait to talk to you about them, and now they've already opened them so I can talk about everything and they won't find out, not that they watch my YouTube anyway. Anyways, before I get started, if you like any videos about sewing, fabric hauls, what I'm making, what I plan on making, what I have been making, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to be notified when I have another video. And that's it. Let's get started. Okay, first we're gonna talk about George's coat. All right, so let me get started on showing you all the details. So this is the Pixie Pea Coat by Twig and Tail. And the size range is pretty large. They've got infants all the way up to, I will have to look it up again, but it's at least age like 12 to 14 because my daughter is 11, but she's really tall. So I know that we had a size that was good enough for her. So this is his. I made the sleeves a little bit longer so that he had room to grow into them. This is a wool fabric with a kind of like a premium cotton on the inside, a little bit like a cotton lawn. I did some plaid matching, the best of my ability. It does actually match up. There's multiple options. You can do buttonholes or button loops. I usually tend to do the button loops because I think they're cuter. But anyway, so it matches there. You have the option of a hood, which is 3 pieces. It's got 1 piece here, 1 piece here, 1 piece in the middle. And then, or you can do just a regular collar, which is what I did for my daughter. And it's really cute. I made sure to match up as best I could the lines of this plaid on the side seams. And then it is lined, as you can see, but it is so easy to make, you guys. So easy. In fact, if you're interested in making coats and you want to learn how to bag out a lining, which bagging out a lining was a term that I was like, huh? When I first started making coats, but it's really not that difficult. But if you want to learn the concept of bagging out a lining, this pattern is so simple, so easy, and it really helps you kind of master that method. And they have you attach this button band to the lining, and then the front is like this with a button band attached. And you're basically sewing this section and this section like right sides together all the way around, including at the bottom. And then you're top stitching it down kind of so the lining doesn't, you know, bow out and come out. And you just leave one little section open right here, which you can see on the side seam, so that once you sew everything right sides together, you can see how I kind of messily stitched it closed. Once you sew everything right sides together, you can flip everything out through that hole that you left, and then you just stitch it up. And the sleeves are really simple too. You pretty much pre-press the lining and pre-press the hem of the the actual fabric, and then you just stitch it together like you literally just top stitch it together. So this part is like really kind of oversimplified, but it still looks great. A lot of jackets, when you're bagging out the lining, don't do it that way. This is a little bit more simple, but the rest of it is just so simple. There's, you know, the lining isn't like shorter. You're not having to like have it like have a pleat and kind of be loose and hang down. I mean, it's just so simple. For a kid's jacket, that's really all you need. I mean, they're gonna go out of it anyway. It's just like, I cut these out. I cut the plaid ones out in one day, and then I cut Emma's, which is my oldest one. She has a leopard one. I cut hers out another day, and then I made a coat per day. Like, one afternoon I made one coat, another afternoon I made another coat, and it was so simple. Okay, I cannot stress to you how easy this pattern is. So don't be intimidated. You can do it. The instructions are really good. Even cutting out the plaid pieces, I'm not going to go too much into it, but there's a lot of advice out there about cutting plaid. But this plaid is basically just like a stripe, because I was just matching the horizontal lines. Like, that's all I really worried about, and that really wasn't hard. So if you work with stripes and you have a simple plaid like this is easy. And I didn't really worry about like where it was, because you see the seam is kind of like crooked a little bit, and that's how it's going to be. So it doesn't really matter like where in the vertical lines you are. I think it just matters for me where you are with the horizontal lines. And yeah, you know, my kids, you can adjust this pattern really easily. If you need to add length, it's really, really easy to do. My boys are pretty much a standard size, but for my girl, I definitely did that. So now that I've talked through the pattern, oh, and it also has this cute little hanging loop, and then I put my little tag there that says "This took forever," which is a tag from Kylie and the Machine, and it's a super cute tag. And yeah, and then I just got nice big buttons. You can pretty much decide how many buttons you want to do. It's not like a specific, you know, there's not a specific number that you necessarily need, but I think she says like 3 to 4 or 2 to 4 depending on how tiny it is. And then, you know, I have these button loops, which they weren't that hard to make, but if you had like a really slinky lining fabric, these could be a little bit more difficult. So I don't know if you'd want to do buttonholes instead. And then, you know, for some, you may not want these button loops to match your lining. You may want them to be more of like a neutral color, but I thought this was a pretty neutral color anyway, and it's for my little boy, and so I thought it was okay to have a little pop of green there, and then we have it here when he folds the sleeve up. So anyway, that's George's, and here's Oliver's. His plaid is a little bit more complicated. Let me button a button or two. I do have a viscose lining for this one, so it was a little bit more difficult to work with, a little bit more slidey, but not crazy awful. So let me scoot this forward so you can see it. And then I will show you, falling out of my chair here. I will show you kind of the inside of the lining so you can see. It's like a nice green. It's very like easy to slip in and out. Beautifully matches this plaid. So I'll show you kind of the the hood is really hard to pattern match. I mean, there are some notches on the hood pieces, and I picked a spot on the hood, which I think had a notch, or I might have added a notch. But I found where that part would be on all of them, like where they would match up, and I kind of had a notch that lined up. And then I made sure that the pattern piece was crossing like a big dominant stripe, like at that notch. And so I could at least like match it in one section, like the most prominent section. And it's not perfect, but I tried to match two of them. If you can see, I have this like really strong, like, I don't know, tannish brown line that sort of matches all the way across. And then I have this like skinnier tan line there. I don't know if you can see. So those are the only two I really cared about, and the rest of it just didn't match because it's like a diagonal, it's like a curved piece, like there's just no way it's gonna happen. She also makes one of these pieces longer because one of them is like a major curve and one of them is more of a straight piece. They know that one of them is going to stretch more than the other, and so they actually make one piece like longer to accommodate the stretch. I think they make this piece longer, the center piece, to accommodate the stretch that they know is going to happen when you sew the other pieces to it. So I thought that was really cool and really thoughtful. By the way, none of this is sponsored or anything. I just wanted to talk about this pattern because I made my kids 3 coats this Christmas. 2 years ago, I made them the same exact coats, like different fabrics, obviously, in different sizes because they were younger. But like, it's just like the never-ending gift of a pattern. Like, I just keep using it and it's perfect. So that's Oliver's. Also, ooh, I forgot to mention, for the pockets, instead of worrying about, you know, matching the plaid, I just cut them on the bias, which could like potentially be an issue, but it's so tiny, and I didn't think it would warp or stretch or anything really because the edges are stitched down, so I was okay with it. But if that worries you, you could always add some interfacing to it and then like add a little piece of lining or something on top of it and like base them all together, if you were worried about it stretching and you still wanted to cut it on the bias. So I just wanted to add that, kind of giving you extra little tidbits with each little project. Here's my daughter's. She's 11, so George is 4, and I think I made him a size 4 or 5, but I definitely went by their measurements. And Oliver's 8, Emma's 11, and this is hers. It is so pretty. Okay, so this is a good example where I decided that the lining fabric was totally her because it's bright purple, but it wasn't what I wanted for the button loops. And so I grabbed some brown linen and that's what I used for the button loops. If you can see, this kind of coat, like it doesn't look right unless someone's wearing it. Like it looks kind of wonky on the hanger when I hold it up, so just bear with me. But I made hers with a collar. I did not think she'd want a hood, and I thought it would be way cuter with a collar. I'll have this bright purple, like premium cotton. It's very slippery, but it's obviously not like a viscose that is like a satin feel or anything like that. But it definitely is slippery enough. It's got a little bit of a sheen to it. And hers was like a walk in the park because it wasn't plaid, so I just cut out the pieces and it was just so great. I definitely made it longer because she's a lot taller and she's a lot thinner. So I made her kind of the regular size on the top because her shoulders are still, you know, bigger for they match her age basically, but she's just so thin. And so I just kind of like, after the chest area, which her chest area is semi normal size for her age, just a little smaller, I just kind of graded in at the waist so it can be like nice and slim for her, but then I definitely used the length of like the 12 or 14 or whatever size I ended up doing for her, just so that, and I basically just like looked at the finish measurements for whatever size I was thinking that she would be in for the height, and then I measured it on her to make sure that that was a good length for her. And so I kind of like, instead of making up my own like length lines, I kind of preferred to just follow the patterns. And so I would just look at theirs, see if it was a good length for her, and then I just did it like that. And I made it a little longer so she could grow into it because I want them to kind of have these coats for about 2 years. And that's kind of what they did last time. Like at the end of the 2 years, it was looking a little awkward. They were looking a little small. And they're not really close enough to like pass them down to each other. So, and obviously I won't be giving this one to my boys. I don't think they would like it. So, anyways. that being said, I'm planning on making them coats again probably in 2 years if they're not too cool for it by then. So they love it. They are extremely warm because they're all wool. I don't remember, let's see, I got this wool, I think from Fabric Godmother in the UK a long time ago. I planned on making a skirt out of it, but here it is as a coat. I got this one a while back from Blackbird Fabrics in Canada. That I got a while back. It was a dead stock fabric, and I think I saw her get it in stock this year again, but I had so much of it. I still have like a ton of it. And because I planned on making my husband a coat out of it, but I ended up just changing my mind, so I still have like enough for like another coat for someone. And then this I got because I was gonna make pants out of it, but the fabric was just too thick. I thought it was thinner when I ordered it, so I decided I would make a lovely coat for my littlest. And it was only like 2 yards that I had, and he's super small, so that worked out. And that's another thing, you don't really need that. If your fabric's really wide, you really don't need that much fabric for this pattern, so go check it out because it's really a great pattern. These buttons I just got from my local fabric store. And this fabric I got from Sewing Studio in Oregon. So that is where, and that also I got a while back, so I don't know why I told you where I got these things, because I don't think you'll be able to find them. But I still wanted to tell you so you could have maybe a couple of sources. Blackbird gets some beautiful wool fabrics in all the time, especially in the winter. And Sewing Studio has like a couple of good ones on her website right now. And Fabric Godmother always has beautiful fabric, always. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that pattern review, and I hope I convinced you like to make these beautiful cute pea coats that I feel like you literally cannot buy anywhere unless you pay more money than you would like to pay. Because they're just so cute. Like I don't know, like I feel like they only just, a lot of the stores here mostly just have like sports coats for the kids, and that's fine, but every once in a while I want them to look a little bit nicer. So I love the result. It's a super easy pattern, and I just wanted to encourage you guys to try it out. And I feel like you could even maybe, like if you're real tiny and petite framed, you could maybe make one for yourself, who knows. Anyways, let me know if you have any questions or suggestions or opinions about any of this. And that's it. If you like this video, hit the like button so that other people can find it and also hopefully be encouraged. And I hope you guys, oh sorry, my dog's barking. I hope you guys have a fabulous day and fabulous start to the year, and I will talk to you later. Okay.